I'm Alex, and this is Woke Fallout, the podcast where nothing's too sacred to question and nobody's too big to call out. I dig into the past, drag the present into the light, and drop the kind of takes that get people talking. Welcome to the Fallout. In this episode, we're gonna go through the Islamophobia controversy in the UK. Are they shielding faith or shackling speech? So, the UK has started up an anti-Muslim hatred Islamophobia definition working group. I know, a mouthful, right? The objective for this working group is to develop a working definition of anti-Muslim hatred Islamophobia. Now reading through their terms of reference, I can see them referring to something called British Muslims. Now, I do wonder what it is. So I actually had to Google it, and apparently it's a person who lives in the United Kingdom and follows the Islamic faith. Now, there's a saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and I think it kinda applies here, right? The document also goes on to tell us that the British Muslims, their diversity helps to enrich the fabric of British society. Now, I'm not sure they are trying to define anti-Muslim hatred. It just seems they are singing their praises. Now further down the document, and I quote, "The purpose of the anti-Muslim hater Islamophobia definition working group is to provide advice to the Deputy Prime Minister and Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government on appropriate and sensitive language to describe, understand and define unacceptable treatment, prejudice, discrimination and hate targeting Muslims or anyone who is perceived to be a Muslim." Now, it may just be my English, but that sure does sound like it infringes on free speech, right? Trying to determine what you can and cannot say, even if they say that the definition will be non-statutory. Then they go on by saying, any proposed definition must be compatible with the unchanging right of British citizens to exercise freedom of speech and expression, which includes the right to criticize, express, dislike of or insult religions and or the beliefs and practices of adherents. To me, it sounds like they want to have the cookie and eat it. I don't know. And apparently it's the government's responsibility to ensure that all British citizens receive equal treatment. And I actually think that this working group is going right against that. If we're looking for equality, why not have a more general working group, such as equal rights for all religions? I don't know about you, but to me this looks like special treatment to the Muslims. So I ask, why is Muslims more important? And so I repeat, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I mean, when you move to a country, you should adjust to them. The country shouldn't adjust to you or your religion. If people would adjust to the countries that they move to, this would not be a problem at all. But let's move on. A question I've always had is, what happens if you as a Muslim wants to leave the faith or become secular? Now, from what I've read in Sharia, most Sunni and Shia scholars historically ruled that apostasy, and that's a crime, often punishable by death. So, I did some digging in Saudi Arabia and Iran, amongst others, still treat apostasy as a capital offense, while Egypt, Malaysia and Pakistan criminalize it indirectly through blasphemy laws, loss of civil rights, annulment of marriage, loss of inheritance. While in Tunisia, Turkey and Lebanon do not legally punish apostasy, but there can be strong social stigma, family reaction or threats. Now, looking at it from this perspective, there are quite harsh punishments for leaving the Muslim religion behind, no matter where you're from. Let's actually go back and look at what the Quran says. In 929, 5 people of the book, Jews and Christians, until they pay the jizya, which means tax. Then we have another one, 22, 39, 40. Permission to fight is given to those who are wronged. And yet another one, 33:61. Hypocrites will be seized and killed whenever found. 5:38. As to the thief, the male or female, cut off his hands or her hands, a retribution for their deed and an exemplary punishment from Allah. 24:2. The woman and the man guilty of fornication, flog each one of them with 100 stripes. Let not compassion withhold you from carrying out God's law. 5:45. We prescribe for them a life for a life, an eye for an eye, a nose for a nose, an ear for an ear, a tooth for a tooth, and for wounds equal retaliation. But if anyone remits retaliation, it is an expiation for him. Now this is just a little bit from the Quran. I haven't read it all, it's just some quotes actually. I mean, if we overlook Muslims getting special treatment, which I feel is kind of wrong, does really a religion like this belong in a modern society? I'm not a religious man myself, but I don't believe so. Those that do feel like this is the way of life, why not just move back home? and practice it there where it belongs. The thing is, I'm not trying to sound harsh, but the UK is not a Muslim country. I would say that Christianity is the dominant religion there, right? Anyway, let's move on. Let's look at this from another perspective. How could this all affect free speech? I know, they say it's non-statutory, but if it is, why even have it? And I mean, UK have laws in place for hate crimes anyway, shouldn't it be sufficient? I honestly don't believe any religion deserves to have a definition of what is allowed to say about it or not. I mean, where is the line between hating Muslims and criticizing Islam, which is actually part of their free speech? Well, criticizing any religion obviously, not just Muslims. And even so, honestly, a religion is not an ethnic group, so even if you spew hatred over a religion, it shouldn't even matter. You aren't targeting an ethnic group, you're targeting religion, and that should be okay. And introducing this, I would even argue that it could risk academics, journalists and ordinary people may self-censor when discussing topics like Sharia amongst other things. I mean, what's the point of free speech if we are to try and define what is not allowed to say about a certain religion, in this case Muslims? So, what do you guys think? Are they shielding faith or shackling speech? And will this affect free speech? Let me know in the comments. This was Woke Fallout, the place where comfort zones shatter. I'm Alex, signing off. Stay bold, stay loud, and don't stop questioning.